Welcome everybody to episode 96 of the Josh Lopez Wrestling Podcast. Before we get started, I have one request for you guys. Please leave a review and a rating on Apple Podcasts. It could be positive, it could be negative. I love to get your feedback on this podcast. The only way this podcast grows as a former nominated Best Show of the Year in the Wrestling Radio Awards is for you guys. I want to get your guys' thoughts. I'm always open to any suggestions, praise, or criticism for this podcast. I have thick skin. I can handle it. This is a show for the fans that want to have fun. And I preach about it every single week. It's an honor and a privilege to come on here and provide some fun wrestling talk for you guys. So all I ask is to leave a review and rating on Apple Podcasts. Send a screenshot of your reviews and ratings to me at Twitter at NotoriousJoshi, and I'll give you a shout out on next week's podcast. On the docket this week, we have Punkster Adam Daley coming back on the podcast to chat about Fastlane, what's happening with WrestleMania, and some other life topics. So it's always fun talking to him. We are 4 episodes away from hitting the 100 mark here in the Josh Lopez Wrestling Podcast. So sit back, relax, strap it down. We're in for a fun edition of the Josh Lopez Wrestling Podcast, which starts, let's see. How about right now?
Yo, man, did you guys see Raw last night?
I did.
I saw some of it.
Did you, Joe?
I saw a few segments.
You saw a few segments, okay.
Yeah.
All right, any thoughts?
Yeah, I got thoughts.
Go ahead.
I don't think I've ever seen a character get eviscerated the way Nia Jax was last night. Just absolutely devalued.
Right, why was she crying? It was like...
Dude, they sound like they're actually going towards the angle of she has very low self-esteem about the way she looks and thinks that's going to create a sympathetic type response for her. Mm. And I have no idea what they're thinking. And I said what I say a few weeks ago. If she wants to turn her career around,
I think they're trying to. Yeah, I think they're trying to. Go ahead.
You can't. If she's going to keep, bro, she was crying tears, streaming her face when Alexa Bliss was telling her that she knows that she doesn't feel comfortable about the way she feels and the way she looks. You know, like about when she was talking about that, she's crying. It's like, and you've seen her respond on social media in the past and the way the fans react to her. That this is like a real thing with her,
right? You
know, and maybe that's why they're doing this angle. And I've said my advice to her is to do kind of like the Biggest Loser type thing. Just train your ass off, get a trainer, change your over the course of a year or two, work out and change your body look into like more of a fitness looking thing to where people say, "Oh, wow, look at Nia Jax." Have you seen this? Have you seen the old picture of her when she was a model?
Yep.
Pretty high.
Yes, but here's the thing. This is what I think they're doing, okay? Because I think they're thinking to. This is what I think. I think their whole thing is, all right, let's get sympathy on her because she's being fat shamed or body shamed, whatever.
Yeah.
But she's gonna be like a beacon for all these women that are overweight and have been shamed, and I don't think they're gonna want her to lose weight. I think they're gonna be like, it's okay to be this way, and they're gonna try. That's what I think. What do you think, Joe?
Yeah, I think
that's absolutely horrible. Yeah. And so, bro, let me tell you something. I thought Vince McMahon was like a right winger.
Yeah.
I thought stuff like this for Vince McMahon, like this left-wing snowflake stuff would be, this wouldn't be something they would be interested in.
I don't think Vince McMahon is probably even interested in this segment. I think he's interested in the, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
he's interested in the main event and shit.
Yeah.
Probably not. Whatever snowflake thinks this is a good idea to do something like this to a character and try to play off the fact that she's upset about the way she looks in real life. And there's no money in that.
First thing we need to do is everybody get up out their seats. We about to flip this for real.
Yeah, check it out. Throw your hands up in the air.
What?
Throw your hands up in the air.
What?
Throw your hands up in the air.
What?
Check it out.
Check it out. First things first, I pop up. Freaks all the honeys, dummies, playboy bunnies. Those wanting money. Those the ones I like 'cause they don't get Nathan but penetration unless it smells like garbage. barge, I turn like doorknobs. Heart throb never, black and ugly as ever. However, I stay Gucci down to the socks. Rings and watch filled with rocks. And my jam knock in your Mitsubishi. When they see me, now the hoes creep me and they TP. As I lay down lost like Alec Coppin, stop it. If you think you're gonna make a profit, don't see my ones, don't see my guns, get it? Now tell your friends, Papa hit it, then split it in two. As I flow with the junior mafia, I don't know what the hell's stopping ya. I'm clocking ya, Versace shade watching ya. Once you grin, I'm in, game begin. First I talk about how I dress is this and diamond necklaces, stretch Lexuses, the sexy just immaculate. From the back I get
Diva and diva.
help you reach the climax that your man can't make. Call him, tell him you'll be home real late and sing the break.
Yeah, come on, throw your hands in the air.
What?
Everybody throw your hands in the air.
What?
Come on, throw your hands in the air.
What?
Everybody throw your hands in the air.
What?
Yeah, take it out.
Let's sing it.
To your mafia. Yeah, come on, to your mafia.
What?
Where the ladies at? All the ladies.
Welcome everybody to episode 96 of the Josh Lopez Wrestling Podcast. It is Friday, March 9, 2018. I want to give a shout out to my idol, the Notorious B.I.G. It's the anniversary of his death, unfortunately, today, on this day in 1997, 21 years ago. It's crazy how time flies by that fast, you know what I mean? Welcome to the show, everybody. My name is Josh Lopez. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Notorious Joshi. I'm posting some motivational quotes and sayings I see out there. You guys know the drill with me. I'm all about that positive mental attitude. So if I could provide some quotes and share some good music on social media platforms with my work on the side, then I'm doing something productive for society these days, because there's too much bad energy and negative dialogue out there that I just don't want to be part of. So follow me on Twitter and Instagram and just interact with me, and don't be a Nimrod. You could check out the podcast every single week on Fridays on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, and our YouTube channel. We changed a lot with the YouTube channel. We changed it to Josh Lopez Wrestling Podcast. It's very easy for you guys to find. I uploaded an interview I did a few years ago with Steve Carino. I uploaded that last night. It's on the YouTube channel. You can check that out right now. It's one of my favorite interviews, actually. And Steve is an awesome performer and very underrated for what he's done in his career. And now he's a coach at the WWE Performance Center. So you check out that interview with Steve Carino. I'm going to be plugging one that I did a few years ago with the Velveteen Dream. This is when he was Patrick Clark coming out of the Tough Enough show. And I got a little glimpse of what the Velveteen Dream character was supposed to be in that interview. So I'm going to be sharing that in a couple weeks for you guys. So I have a lot of my old interviews I did with the Pro Wrestling Experience. You can check that on the YouTube channel. All I ever ask for you guys, I don't want your money. All I want is your honest opinions on this show. Leave a review and rating on iTunes if you can, and just let me know what you think about the show. It's just that simple. You can bookmark ProWrestlingTranscriptions.com if you want to check out my play-by-play articles. That website is for every wrestling fan that doesn't have the ability to catch up with every wrestling show that's out there on the TV worlds and the internets these days. So check out ProWrestlingTranscriptions.com. I'm starting out the coverage of the New Japan Cup this weekend, and I'll let you guys know on social media whether or not I'll cover Fastlane live. There's just a lot of articles I got to get through this weekend, and I was talking about this the other day with a friend of mine. I didn't go to bed last night till like 3:30 in the morning, and I'm dropping articles every day and working on that grind, and doing this for you guys and to provide good quality content for you guys, and hopefully you guys are appreciating it. So we got a fun podcast for today. I'm not alone this week, as you heard in the intro. Bringing on good brother back in the podcast as always for these little pay-per-view previews, but we're not just going to be talking about wrestling today. We're going to sprinkle around whatever's flowing through our mind and shooting this shit. You can find me on Twitter at AdamDaley13 and Instagram at AdamDaley13. The one and only Punkster is back here on the podcast. What's up, my man?
Hi, Josh. What's going on, brother? Nice to be back on. It must be a pay-per-view weekend, right?
Yes, sir. Our final one before we have co-branded pay-per-views after WrestleMania.
Oh, it is the last SmackDown Live exclusive.
Yes, sir. Last of the cycle of 2 pay-per-views back to back.
For now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, until like 2.5 years from now, where they're like, we're gonna do split brand pay-per-views again, and they decide, we weren't gonna do that anymore.
Right.
It was in layers.
How you doing, man? How you doing today?
Good, brother. Good. What's going good? I know we were gonna talk a little about Mania and stuff like that. We're gonna talk about some stuff going on. But listen, shout out to any ladies listening out there. It was International Women's Day. If my wife's listening, which she probably will be, Sam, shout out to the strongest woman that I know that has ever existed on this planet. So yeah, keep doing you, ladies, changing the world.
Yes. You know, it's funny. I was thinking about this the other day, and I put this post on Instagram about this people just acting dumb in my neighborhood and this jamming whatever stuffed animals they want in any area just for the hell of it. You know, I'm coming home from the gym and I throw out the garbage and there's a fucking stuffed giraffe in the back of my garage for absolutely no reason. And then for those who know this story, and I posted this a couple weeks ago, and there's this random teddy bear on a tree before Valentine's Day. Not only is that odd but creepy at the same point, but I just don't get what's going on with my neighborhood. And I know I'm not the only person that deals with weird and wacky shit in our neighborhoods, especially being in Chicago. I mean, come on, folks. My brother here is from Beaver County. I mean, he's seen his good stuff of wackiness.
Yeah, it's funny because we moved from Beaver County, Pennsylvania, which is like every. If you ever watch Married with Children, it's like when Peggy Bundy gets back to Wanker County. And now we live in Pittsburgh. So we thought, we're living in Pittsburgh now. This is, I'm paying Pittsburgh taxes, so we're definitely living in Pittsburgh. I have more like farm animals on my street now than I did when I actually lived in like the country. You know, it's like there's chickens, there's deer to like question why we're in their neighborhood. You know, they're not afraid of us whatsoever.
They're not playing around.
Yeah, like random dogs, raccoons. Me and these raccoons are going to be feuding for about the next 6 months here pretty soon too. So it's like there's just wildlife everywhere. But yeah, when I was living in the country, there was like every once in a while you'd see a dead raccoon on the side of the road. Right. Mm-hmm.
Yep. You there? Bizarre. It is bizarre. We got a lot to get to. Of course, we got pay-per-view coming up this weekend. Fastlane. We'll make predictions for that show at the end of this podcast. But in the meantime, I want to start off with something fun. Talk a little bit about an announcement that came from Raw this past Monday. We have the coming of the ultimate deletion. Yes. Tremendous.
I saw that something Wogan might be changed pretty soon.
Yeah, I saw that too.
So that was on Matt's Twitter account, I believe, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And now, because I don't know, and you've never written this to me, so anybody listening out there, I apologize for my own ignorance. It's just me not being up on wrestling gossip keeps wrestling entertaining for me. So, but is the lawsuit and everything done? Did they maybe finally get the rights to everything? Is it going to be all systems go now?
Yeah, that is all concluded, and Matt has procured the license. Yes.
This is going to be amazing.
Yes.
So when is this going to have to happen before WrestleMania, right?
Well, here's the thing. They actually started filming the match yesterday during the day, which I think is tremendous. For those who are wondering, yes, Jeremy Borash is involved in the production of this Ultimate Deletion. So don't worry, everybody. It'll be okay. He's not going to make an appearance on the Deletion. I want to make that perfectly clear. But yeah, they started filming this event yesterday, and I just think it's cool. I never thought one of the last few good segments on Impact Wrestling would actually air on a WWE broadcast, and I actually documented the specials that Broken Matt Hardy did from the beginning, all from Delete or Decay. I remember me and Ronnie doing a live reaction to Delete or Decay on YouTube, and Brother Carter was in the chat room just marking out the entire time. It's great that video I did, that reaction I did, Adam, was one of the highest viewed clips I've done on the channel. It's crazy. So the fact that we're getting this Ultimate Deletion, I think is awesome. But here we are again. I knew this was coming, and everybody's like, "Oh, I can't wait for WWE to fuck this up." I like how in 2018, not only does the joke write itself, you can't even blink an eye before somebody assumes something.
Right. And you know, like, I think here's the one takeaway that we could all be looking at is something that organically just took off. That was an absolute creation of just some, you know, whether it was just Matt that came up with this or whoever came up with the idea, if it was like a collaboration between some people. But, you know, I've always taken a lot of heat from people because I've been a Matt Hardy fan, and I've always thought that Matt's been kind of overlooked, and I've always kind of admired his creativity and at least his will to try, you know, to take risks. It's just, I guess it's, as a wrestling fan, it's good to see an idea that started. I know that TNA or Impact was big leagues, and I get that, but realistically, it kind of was independent. Not really, but you know what I mean. You know, it was.
Right. Mm-hmm.
It was having problems, you know, and for them to be able, however it shook down, and I don't know who came up with the idea of just letting him tape it at the Hardy compound, and you know, and how everything came to fruition. Whoever greenlit it and whoever started coming up with the idea, I just it's great to see something homegrown and something homegrown. Not a room full of writers coming together and trying to overly script something, you know, just something that was supposed to be fun and campy, and just for the like wrestling fans to just wanted to kick back and have fun and not take it too serious, and it actually did transcend over into WWE now, and it might be a lot of the same, and I'm okay with that, dude. You know what I mean? If we see a lot of the same, isn't that still kind of cool? Aren't we still winning in a way?
Yeah. And
it's on the bigger platform now.
You know, I'm glad I have you on here because we didn't get a chance to talk about House of Horrors when it happened during that time period, right? I don't think we were in touch at that point, but you know, when you look at Woken Matt Hardy, Broken, whatever you want to call him, or Bray Wyatt, and you'll have people on the airwaves like, "Oh, Matt Hardy sucks." People give him praise for being creative, but he sucks as a wrestler, this and that. Yet totally forgetting what he actually does from a storytelling standpoint. It's not just moves. I'm saying as the guy who documents wrestling moves for all these shows. I know there's a big proponent of storytelling that's very important to this stuff. But anyways, going back to what I was saying. You know, everybody was trashing House of Horrors and this and that, and you know, I even had a debate about this civilly though with Brother Carter about the House of Horrors, and he's like, "Oh, it's just weird," and I'm like, "Okay, when you look at Bray Wyatt as a whole, he is weird. He's supposed to be weird." Every special that Broken Matt Hardy has done on Impact is weird. It's over the top. It's cheesy. You have good subtle comedies and subtle insults here and there. Like I remember the one he did with Hurricane, and he's like, "I just buried some good young talent better than a man with 3 H's."
Oh yeah, that was gold.
That was cool. And all this stuff, Bray Wyatt promos, House of Horrors, Delete or Decay, whatever you want to call it, they're all weird. It's supposed to be weird.
And yeah, I don't think think anybody should be going into this storyline looking for like an Oscar. Like, we're not looking for Jordan Peele writing Get Out. You know what I mean?
This ain't gonna be Braveheart.
This is supposed to be. It's funny, Josh. When we get something that's supposed to be for the wrestling fan, and I mean that in a way that the wrestling fan that knows that sometimes goofy can be amazingly great. You know, I just think there's something that's going to be funny about it. There's something that's going to be magical about this compared to what was done before, because this is the meeting of two worlds. We always say, well, what can happen when, if this company took on this company? I understand this is WWE, but in a very loopholed way, this is kind of like Impact and WWE, the closest thing we'd ever see Impact and WWE meeting. Bray Wyatt at Hardy Compound. Because in a way, you kind of think of the Hardy Compound now as an Impact thing. And it's totally subconscious because it's just what you're used to, and it's creatures. We're creatures of habit. But I don't know. I just think it's really cool to see something that again that like they kind of organically, and especially Bray too, because I think there's a lot more authenticity in Bray's character than we realize. Because you can tell when Bray gets very passionate in a promo.
Even like stuff with like the New Day and Wyatt family brawl they did in that one field. I remember they did that last year. I thought that was fine.
Oh, yeah.
And I talked about this in the past. I think it's fine to do brawls or matches outside the arena, but it has to be for the right circumstances and the right time. You can't just do it every single week. I think that's kind of the myths that comes with the Attitude Era. Like, oh, we had all these groundbreaking creative segments because they're out of the arena. They did this do stuff every single week. Just because you do new stuff doesn't mean it's good all the time. But that's my opinion. But going back to this, I feel like when they did the B-roll clips on Raw of the Hardy Compound, and you see Vanguard 1, and you see the dilapidated boat, Skarsgård, it was tremendous.
It was good to see. But I like that they're keeping it as, like you said, I like the B-roll footage. I don't want it to look overproduced. And listen, even if it is, I'm still going to enjoy it, But I kind of liked that it had that B-movie feel to it, I think that was part of the charm of the entire, Broken Matt Hardy, especially the special installment, every time there was a deletion or a delete, and anytime he's deleted. But, I don't know, in a way, do you kind of hope that they keep it that way, or are you looking for some? Do you think that they're going to change around production value a little bit, or what are you expecting out of it, or are you kind of like me, letting it just kind of waiting to see how it plays out?
I'm going with the same approach as I had with every other Broken Matt Hardy special. I just got to embrace it. I gotta let it. I have to let it go through my body, and then I can react after the fact. And there was also evolutions of these specials. For one thing, it was him against Jeff, and then they had the K, and then they had this massive ass pay-per-view style theme of this specials, the Apocalypto show, where you have like 30 tag teams and the express that rock and rolls down there. It was awesome. there was a lot going on, but I think that's the charm of it. And whether that happens, honestly, I would not have an issue with this if they put this on a Raw. I don't know. There's arguments of where's the right place to display this special. Should you put it on Raw? Should you put it on the WrestleMania kickoff show? Are you going to have enough time to put it in between all the other cool matches that we're going to have at WrestleMania? I think that's a good problem to have, because people want to see this segment, but there's also a lot of good stuff that's going to be happening at WrestleMania this year. So there's stuff that you had to balance in between. But for me, I wouldn't have a problem if they dedicated an hour of Raw or something before WrestleMania to this, and then this could lead to something else after Mania. I don't know, but I think when you have Bray and Matt, and you're going to have this conclusion of this rivalry and this ultimate deletion, in a way they could miss WrestleMania because they could take they could take each other out in the process. Usually in these broken Matt Hardy specials, the Hardys find a way to win, right? What about this time? You know, yeah, you have Brother Nero come back, but let's say that we don't have a winner and both guys are laid out, and you don't know what happens.
You don't, and listen, I don't want to. This sounds completely absurd, but wrestling's absurd, and
It is absurd.
This story is absurd. So this is just kind of just spitballing something that would they go as far as having part of this air at WrestleMania, and then somehow they teleport to WrestleMania and finish the match inside of the WrestleMania ring. So you're seeing the video, everything that they're taping, you're seeing the match play out, you're seeing all the stuff to Hardy compound, but then what if somehow they get teleported back into the Superdome, or the Silverdome as Hogan likes to call it, and then they finish the match there, and that's how the ultimate deletion. I don't know. It sounds absolutely absurd, but
that's what it's supposed to be, though.
Right. I mean, is it really that much of a stretch?
But here's the thing, though, and I going back to the House of Horrors, this is the only thing I would have done differently about it. I know they put an article about the match already happening before the pay-per-view, right? You know what I mean? And with him and Randy Orton. The thing I would have done, whether it was on the kickoff show or at least at the beginning of that pay-per-view, show at least like a 2-minute snippet of what was going on at the house, and then go into the thing. Because I guess everybody's main complaint about that House of Horror thing was that it was like, oh, it was supposed to be live, but it was taped, and then it came back to the arena. Like, the only change I would have done differently was to have that little snippet of it showing that it was pre-recorded, this and that. And, it was kind of a crutch, too, because they had the pay-per-view in California that day, and you still have the sun out, and it's 2 hours ahead of where everybody else was at the time. That's not a hill I'm going to die on when it comes to that stuff, you know what I mean? So, for me, I didn't have an issue with the House of Horrors because I'm glad they actually tried to do something different with that. Maybe it didn't have the greatest execution that people were looking for, and that's fine. But just because that happened, that doesn't mean I feel like the ultimate deletion is going to be a flop.
No, and you know what? I think that, unfortunately, because the internet's the internet, people are going to go in with expectations that they're going to be let down. So no matter what, listen, we've been proven wrong a lot recently. For how much wrestling sure does suck. I mean, we've had some really great moments over these past couple of years that we can go back and look on, and some great stories and some great matches. I think that like you said, Josh, you have people already criticizing it before it's even been shown. And to me, I mean, like you said, there's a million different ways that they could do this. How they choose to do it is totally up to them. I'm on their train, you know what I mean? So whatever they decide to do, we kind of have to go. We have to go on the voyage with them. But I'm okay with however they do it. I don't know. I mean, I guess maybe I'm just not that nitpicky. As long as we get to see it, it's one of those that does it connect with the WrestleMania crowd. These are the main questions I think that need to be answered, and we don't know these answers. And it's only really the people that behind the scenes and those that truly are there would know. But is it worth the risk of taking part of the WrestleMania? Even though the show's, I think, 8 days long, but taking part of the WrestleMania card and having it as a pre-recorded match, how would the crowd that paid money to see it, how would they respond? I wouldn't say I wouldn't necessarily mind because it might give you time to go to the bathroom, or it might, and please don't take that the wrong way, but it's just when you're there for a long period of time, every once in a while you have to look for an out because you don't want to soil yourself there. But there's a lot of people that when you want your, are your casual fans going to understand what's going on? Or would that, in a way, bring casual fans in? Does it work better on Raw? Like you said, would it be better on something that they put on the network? Maybe is that just something they can pull out of their hat,
Ooh.
I don't know how they do it. However they do it, I think I'm totally okay with. And, if it's, as long as, I don't even say as long as we're entertained, who really cares? This is, I guess, where us as podcasters and people on the internet and whomever, I guess this is, at the end of the day, the real question is, as long as we're entertained, who cares how we get it?
Right.
Just entertain us. And I'm not saying that being like, we need to be entertained, you owe us. No, however you choose, we never tell a band, you're going to release your album in February. We just look for when a band's going to release the album, and then we circle the date on the calendar. So however WWE wants to give it to us, as long as we're getting something that, we never thought we'd see. And I'll admit, when we saw it, we were like, oh my God, this is so brilliant. This is so good. And I knew I was going to get so much hate for that, too, because it was going to have to grow on people. But I kind of got what they were trying to do, and it made sense, because the right wrestling fan was going to get it, and that's all it takes. Because once something gets popular on the internet, give it 2 months tops, and it's the biggest thing on the internet. And Matt's story on TNA is a perfect example.
I'm going to pose the question to you, and I'm going to pose the question to everybody listening at home. I have an idea that just came to my head as we were talking about this. You know how they go all out for the final Raw before WrestleMania, right?
Yes and no. I always think the next to last Raw, to me, is always the most important one. I think the last Raw going in is kind of like they should just phone it in to make sure nobody gets hurt and stuff like that. That's my own personal opinion, but I don't know. But yeah, I see what you mean, yeah.
So I was thinking maybe it'd be a cool idea to air the Ultimate Deletion on the network right after the final Raw before WrestleMania.
It's not a bad idea. People are going to have wrestling fever anyway. Let's face it, WrestleMania week, whether we realize it or not, we become wrestling fanatics. And it's because of all the great independent stuff that's going on. It's because of all the great stuff that WWE is doing. Dude, I'll admit, you know me, man, I'm Mr. DVR. I've been watching Raw and SmackDown Mondays and Tuesdays. And maybe with football, maybe that's helped the cause a little bit,
Right.
But I think WrestleMania season, dude, regardless of what you get pumped up. You don't want to miss anything. Like, I don't want to miss SmackDown on Tuesday. Even if I'm still DVRing it, I just stay off my phone. I don't want to, what if Carmella cashes in? I don't want to have it spoiled on Twitter,
Right. Let's move on to the next thing. I want to throw this out there because I saw the Mixed Match Challenge the other day, which I think is a cool concept that they're doing. Braun Strowman, I'm just going to say this, you're a lucky SOB, and I'll leave it at that. I'm just going to leave it at that. Also, to catch up everybody up with the 205 Live Cruiserweight Championship Tournament that's concluding at WrestleMania at the same time. We have the Final Four. We have Roderick Strong, Cedric Alexander, Drew Gulak, and Mustafa Ali. So that's the guys in the semifinals right now. The winner of those semifinal matches coming up in the next couple weeks, those two guys will face each other at WrestleMania. So we still got Roderick Strong, former guest of the PW show, by the way. He's in the tournament, and it's been some really good in-ring wrestling going on for the last couple weeks on 205 Live. And even Buddy Murphy from NXT's been doing a lot of good stuff, too, as well. I like his character, and there's been a lot of cool, in-depth character development on 205 Live going on the last couple weeks. So I'll give a shout out to Triple H and the crew for whoever's producing that, and also Adam Pearce, who's the in-ring producer for that show as well. So some good stuff for the cruiserweights. The other day I brought up a topic about WrestleManias, and I wanted to see how many WrestleManias that my friends and supporters went to, and what's like their favorite matches they saw in person. And this kind of sparked something that me and Adam were talking about on the phone earlier before we started recording today, and just talk about the overall experience of WrestleMania. I've been to 3, and coming up in a couple weeks will be my 4th WrestleMania. I've been to 22, I've been to 31, and I went to 33 last year. And my dad got to go to 19. He brought the Mania chair home, which is cool. I still have it, by the way, for anybody that wants it. I might think about selling it or framing it. I'm not sure yet, but I still have the WrestleMania 19 chair from that event. So I'll keep you guys posted if I'm going to sell it or not. So I've been to 22, 31, and 33. And the favorite match I saw in person was Triple H against John Cena from WrestleMania 22, or Edge and Mick Foley, the No Holds Barred match, which was freaking insane. Adam, you have an extensive history with WrestleMania, not only from a wrestling fan standpoint, but also from a personal standpoint, and we talked about that in the past. Let everybody know a little bit about your WrestleMania experience and what's some of the favorite matches you saw in person at WrestleManias.
I've been fortunate enough to have been to 7. And my first one was 19. I've been at 19, 22, 24, 25, 27, 28, and 30. Those are the 7 I've been to. We're going to try and get down there this year. And what's funny though, Josh, is we're kind of like talking about this. Even if we get a chance to get down there, we might not buy tickets to the event, and that's not, guys, please don't take that as like a protest against the event, because that's absolutely not the case. But for us, it's always been more about the entire weekend. It's been about just the pageantry. We have friends that come over from all over the world. That we meet up with every year, and it's always dependent on the city. I will say that because like next year, I know the New York, New Jersey one. We're not going, not a chance in hell. I mean, so that's easy for me and Sam because we already know that we have other vacations planned next year. Right. Mm-hmm. Excuse me, but we New Orleans is, in my opinion, anybody that's complaining about WrestleMania this year, you have never experienced WrestleMania in New Orleans. And the one thing I'll say is that I've seen a lot of people complaining online. I was in your show last week, Josh. I know you always like splicing clips and stuff. I don't listen to podcasts, dude, so I don't really know. But I heard people complaining about some main event in 4 years in a row, and it makes me wonder, man. Like I realize that going to 7 of them, how fortunate I am. I realize that how fortunate I am to have gotten married at one of them. Done at WrestleMania 28. I realize how fortunate I am to find. When I walked out of WrestleMania 25, that's when I confirmed, hey, you're going to be a dad. I look at all the fortunate experiences, the great friends that I've met, the memories, the weekends, WrestleMania week, and that's why we've always said that it's become like a week, the whole weekend for us now. It's become more about the entire gala and everything that we do, and just running around with your buddies that you haven't seen for a year, or maybe 2 years if you didn't go the year before, or whatever the case may be. It's never about the card. And dude, I've been to 7, and I just want to get this out there. Anybody that's upset about Roman Reigns main eventing another WrestleMania, and anybody that doesn't want to go to WrestleMania because Roman Reigns is headlining or this and that and the other thing, just follow me on this one. WrestleMania 19, in my opinion, was it was a great card, and Brock and Kurt Angle was a hell of a way to end the show. It's hard to top that, you know what I mean? So I got spoiled very early. But I would be remiss if I didn't say that the match of the night for me wasn't Chris Jericho and Shawn Michaels.
Right.
And that's just personal opinion because of characters and personalities and talent that I loved, and not only growing up, but in the moment. So go to WrestleMania 22. Dude, I was there just right with you, man. That was the 50-50 crowd when it started. Nobody went home happy. I don't want to say everybody went home happy. Half the crowd was chanting, and pardon my language, guys, fuck you, Cena. Yep. It was a volatile crowd, and so it wasn't one of those like happy-go-lucky, like hey, everybody gets to go home happy kind of deals. They knew to play into the crowd fans, but I'll admit that wasn't my favorite match of the night. I love seeing RV win Money in the Bank. Edge and Mick Foley was a hell of a match, you know. Even HBK and Vince, fantastic, you know, entertaining from an entertainment value. Go to WrestleMania 24. Let me see. Match of the night for me, and I would hope probably everybody there, is Ric Flair and Shawn Michaels.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes.
No disrespect to The Undertaker and Edge. That is absolutely no disrespect to
and
them.
you're a big Edge fan.
And I'm a huge Edge fan.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, it's Ric Flair's at the time what we thought was the end of an era, of just a legend, you know. WrestleMania 25. I think, what was it? Was it Orton versus Triple H?
Yeah.
Was the main event? Yeah, who cares? We had Shawn Michaels and Undertaker steal the show in maybe every WrestleMania match of all time. WrestleMania 27, let's not talk about the entire card. I mean, the other card was good. Cody Rhodes and Rey Mysterio had a great match. Punk Orton had a great match.
Yeah.
Main event, though, you have a double disqualification or whatever they did for the main event. Not that great if you're walking out, right? If you're there, you're complaining. If you're an IWC fan, WrestleMania 28, people could say you know, the IWC fan was livid that Punk and Jericho weren't headlining. And Jericho talked about it on his podcast. Their match was supposed to be a 10-minute double disqualification.
Right.
So can you imagine the fans that thought that should have main evented? Now, in hindsight, I totally get it. Because we forget that at WrestleMania 18, Triple H was steadfast that the title ends the show. And Chris Jericho, and these are two of my two guys that at the time, if you would have taken my two top guys, they were there. Boom, right there. Chris Jericho versus Triple H for the title, Undisputed Championship. That's my match. I knew it was a bad idea having that go after The Rock and Hulk Hogan. It just, you know, you're going to gas the crowd. And they, you know, it's, but I also understand that the title should be last. You can't hate the player or the game for them understanding that back then there was an error in their ways. So when Roman Reigns and The Undertaker, they end the show and not the championship, like you said, it's about The Undertaker. It's about The Undertaker. Just like that Hogan-Rock match was about Hogan. Ultimately. You know what I mean? I understand it was the passing of the torch, blah, blah, blah. But it was really about the top guy versus the top guy coming back, like the guy who was there.
Right.
You know, and the way that crowd was just, I think in hindsight they would have booked that differently. You know, I really do. So, I don't know, man. I think that when you, in WrestleMania 30, in my opinion, I think Daniel Bryan and Triple H was a better match than Triple Threat anyway. And I just, you know, I don't know. I just think that we get so caught up in the argument going into WrestleMania, we forget how amazing WrestleMania is, how unbelievable, how fortunate we are to not only experience it, but be able to meet new people. You go down with a bunch of wrestling friends. Like, I've met some of the greatest people in the world, and literally the world. Our wedding, all my groomsmen were from the UK. You know, so, like, people that are brothers to me that I talk to all the time that live 5,000-6,000 miles away. It would never have happened without WrestleMania. And you know why if that happened? Because I wasn't complaining about what the fucking main event was going to be.
Right. Exactly. And you know what's interesting about WrestleMania is just speaking about the show. It's moments. I mean, you got to see Stone Cold's final match.
Absolutely. Think about the. Go ahead.
Yeah, you got to see Austin's final match. We got to see, you know, I'm just speaking from my point of view from being there at WrestleMania 22. I was 11 at the time. It was my first pay-per-view I got to see in person. And, you know, get to see that. It's like, shit, man. Like, I got to feel what it was supposed to be at a championship type of fight. Like, you said Cena and Triple H wasn't your favorite, and that's cool. But like for me, to see that as a main event and kind of experience what it is with these Roman Reigns environments with John Cena at that point, that's something that I won't forget. That was a moment, and even like when the crowd was cheering for Eddie Guerrero during that Hall of Fame segment, that was very emotional. I thought that was very cool. Even other moments, like you said, Undertaker and Shawn Michaels, probably one of the greatest matches of all time. And you have all these other moments in WrestleMania 30, and, you know, everybody's like jamming Daniel Bryan down my throat during that build of WrestleMania. And what was everybody talking about that weekend? The streak coming to an end. And that was at the middle of the show.
There you go. That was the biggest thing to happen, arguably in wrestling history, and it wasn't the main event.
Yeah, it's about moments.
And one thing I want to say too, Josh, is I think that, again, perspective is something that needs to be had, because, like you said with WrestleMania 22 and me being there, it being the last WrestleMania, I believe, yes,
yep,
in a small venue.
Yes, sir.
And it was the last one that was in an arena. There was something special. Like, there was a very intimate feel, because WrestleMania is supposed to be big scale. It's large. It's big stage. It's huge. It's supposed to be stadium. It really is. And when you have it in that kind of event, like seeing your favorite band, but in a theater venue, you know what I mean, instead of an arena. So you really feel the energy of that crowd more than you would in a stadium, more than you would in even in somewhat of a larger arena. I think that is lost on a lot of people, because if you were to have these Roman Reigns matches on WrestleMania scale level, okay, so we're talking his WrestleMania matches, especially the jeers that he gets in a small arena, because we're talking about the fans of the fans of the fans of the internet fans, you know what I mean?
Right.
Including myself. I'm not taking myself out of this equation, guys. But Josh, you know how it amplifies everything, and it absolutely gives it that bigger feel. I do think that if that's in a different city, Cena and Triple H, for as awesome as it was, the city made that match, because the city is the one that gave it that 50-50 split.
Right.
And because it's a smart city. You put that in Orlando, where it's 55,000, 65,000 people, whatever, open air, and it's like more family or whatever. Not only does it not come off as audibly loud, but you don't get as big of a 50-50 split.
Yeah, you're getting golf claps in the background.
Right. I think it's in a way it is like comparing apples and oranges.
Right.
And it's just how business has gone. They understand now that the attraction has to end the show versus the championship. Fortunately, this year, the championship and the attraction are going to link into one. But we didn't know that it was going to be Undertaker's last year, you know?
Yeah.
If it is or whatever. But like you said, dude, it was about, for anybody to think that last year was about Roman Reigns, I mean, it's been reported on Dirt Sheets anyway that they were going with like a 3 or 4 year plan with him. So if your complaint is, well, I didn't know, that's only been reported for how many years? But again, it wasn't about Roman. I mean, it was about putting Roman over, yes, but it was more about, like you said, Undertaker was the last person to be seen in that ring, in that arena, close the show, you know.
And you always hear complaints about cards and this and that, and I thought last year was a perfect testament of not going off a card and acting like, oh, the show's gonna suck. I was there in person, and everybody and their mother, I heard it the entire weekend, they were dreading about this AJ Styles Shane McMahon match. They started off the show, and they probably had the best match of that entire show. And then you had Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho. And hell, even people, and I remember, I was actually listening to your guys' show at that time, and I remember how indifferent Sam was to Brock versus Goldberg. And
so mad about it.
And I'm watching it in person, and everybody's losing their freaking mind over it. And it was way better than everybody expected it to be. And then
it was. I was okay with it, man. I think that's why me and she was just like, whatever.
Right.
to Sam's defense, as soon as Reigns, and listen, and this is where I understand arguments. Like, please don't think that I'm never trying to say, oh, you shouldn't listen, everyone, my wife falls asleep as soon as Roman Reigns comes on TV. Literally, it's like he is the worst sleeping pill ever. It's like somebody just injected my wife with horse tranquilizer. But that's the thing that she just needs to get over. I hope she's listening to this, as I'm going to be sleeping on the floor later.
Yep. I was going to say, that WrestleMania was a lot of fun last year, and for me, I got to see two matches that I was really looking forward to with Jericho and Owens, and then Triple H and Rollins, which I thought was a very good match. And then talking about moments, the Hardys returned last year. Like, I want to ask you this, Adam. When we were talking about the match stuff, I didn't get a chance to talk to you during that time for WrestleMania. Did you mark out when they came out?
Oh yeah, it was funny because one of my buddies was over, and he didn't watch it for the longest time. But he used to watch it, And again, WrestleMania brings out people sometimes because they want to see it. It's like the Super Bowl. It's a spectacle. It's like, how many of us don't watch basketball all year long, but we still fill out an NCAA bracket?
Right. Yes.
It's the same premise. But he came over, and when New Day came out, and he was like, "Oh, I guess they're taking the last spot." And that's when it clicked in, and I looked at Sam and went, "Holy shit, the Hardys signed." And whenever they, and it's because we were staying off, we were really staying off the third season. So the surprise in that, and I think that's what is lost and I know I beat this horse way too much, but I do think that's the art of the surprise is lost on a lot of people now, because people want to be in the know too bad, and they don't want to sit back, and when they're not surprised, then they're pissed at the company because, well, you didn't surprise me. Well, you just researched the event for the past 4 weeks.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, for us, we had no idea what they were doing. We had no idea that there was, stuff going on independently, and, we had nothing. We had no clue. And when, it hit me, and, so to answer your question, yeah, I marked pretty hard. And my buddy, laughed and almost fell off my damn couch.
Yeah, bro, I want to be swerved, even though I've been looking at the booking spoiler for 3 weeks. The fuck? How are you gonna get surprised or swerved when you're finding out results for 4 pay-per-views? I never understand that. That's so ass backwards.
Man, that was one of those moments too, man, where the slow realization, because that's what it's all about. It's not. Sometimes it's not about listen, I love a good quick heel turn that you didn't see coming. Those are amazing. I love a good you love a good anytime a story's going a certain direction, and then they do a quick right hand turn or a quick left hand turn. That's why we watch. Ultimately, like you said, it's the moments that we watch for. And that's and the moments I feel like when there's that slow burn reel, and in the moment slow burn where it doesn't hit you right away, but we're no way. Wait, is it happening? And everybody starts to get on the same page, and then the music hits. I mean, that's a moment, especially for you being there, but for me watching it from home and the people that I was spending it with, that's a moment in time that I'll never forget, and never forget who I was with. And I know people are going to laugh, oh, it's wrestling, ha ha ha, but, it's rare when you watch it as long as we have, and we've seen a little bit of everything, when they can really pull off something that you didn't think would happen, and, then, and pull it off well, and then throw the titles on them, too. That for me was just it was just very well done, and it was a good reminder of why I watch, So that's why I'm not gonna not support Matt Hardy, and Jeff Hardy, and I always have, but especially over the course of the year, these past couple of years, in a weird way, I could argue that the Matt Hardy character and the Hardy Boys themselves coming back to WWE have constantly been a nice reminder of why I've loved professional wrestling.
Right. And I look forward to WrestleMania because you never know what moments are going to surprise you or you don't see coming. And we'll see what happens this year. And I'm pretty sure we'll have you back on the show pretty soon to break down more outside show memories and stuff for WrestleMania. I have a funny story I want to share here with you guys from the trip I went to in Santa Clara. So for those that listen to the show know pretty well that I'm not fond on Vince Russo. I think I've made that perfectly clear over the last couple of years. The funny thing is, when I got off the plane, this is good. You're going to get a kick out of this ad when you hear this. So I'm standing there waiting for my taxi we're at the airport. Over my right shoulder, not like literally next to me, but I wouldn't say a mile, but like let's say like 20 feet by me. I see Vince Russo, like right there. He has his bags and everything. He has glasses on. He has a Colorado Rockies hat on. And what do I see? Driving up right next to me. And, you know, it's crazy. I had these guys on my show before that interaction happened. Vince Russo gets scooped up by Justin LeBar and Brian Gulish at the airport. So I just get off the plane. I got Vince Russo, who I can't stand, and we got Justin LeBar and the Chair Shot Reality guys picking up Vince Russo at the airport.
Hey, you never know what you're going to see at Mania, man. That's funny because I in a way feel bad for Vince because I got to meet Vince before, and obviously anybody that's listened to your work or followed me, I know Vince is a very polarizing character, and I get it, but I don't know, I won't say a bad thing about Vince, I really won't, but I understand why he's such a polarizing figure. I'll say that.
Now,
like I'm being totally Switzerland. Now the other ones, like I said, I'm not saying. I don't know. I didn't know. For some reason, my wife's name got brought up again last summer, and it's like I don't know why that's still going on, but no, Vince. Listen, I got to meet Vince personally, and the one thing I'll say is Vince treated me well. What that means in life, honestly, is listen. When the moments I've had with Vince Russo, he's actually treated me like a very good human being and an equal. So all wrestling opinions and whatever aside, I won't say a bad word about Vince. I feel like he gets a lot of sometimes unfair criticism. He asked for it. I get it, but that's where I'm being Switzerland.
I got another one. So I told
you like that? It's all about peace in 2018, baby.
Yes. Here's another one from Chicago weekend. It was raining during the week. I remember this because I was standing outside of a Blockbuster in Chicago. I'm in the actual part in the city of Chicago. I'm not in any like suburbs or like anything like that. In Chicago, I'm like dead set in like Humboldt Park in the West Town area.
Wait, by the way, just real quick before you finish your story, I don't mean to interrupt.
Yeah, go ahead.
Saying I was standing outside of a Blockbuster video in Chicago is a very John Mulaney thing to say. I felt like I was setting up like a John Mulaney like comedy bit. And anybody that's John Mulaney's comedy is going to get that joke. So go on, Josh. I'm sorry.
That's a good one. I like that. So I'm standing at the Blockbuster, and Tori Wilson and Trish Stratus. Yes, Tori Wilson and Trish Stratus are doing a autograph signing at the Blockbuster, and I have a White Sox hat. They were just coming off the World Series victory against the Astros, and it's funny. WrestleMania 22 took place the same night the Sox had their home opener after winning the World Series. I remember that because they were playing Shitland. For those who don't know what Shitland is, that's what I call Cleveland, Ohio. So there you go, folks.
Yeah, I was drinking at Shoeless Joe's after WrestleMania 22 that night up in Chicago.
Yes.
If that's still a thing up there, I don't know if that bar's still there, but
it is. It's good.
Yeah, there you go.
Mm-hmm. So I'm over there, and right before I get a chance to meet them, this guy out of nowhere, he wasn't even in line, he just comes out of nowhere and tries to steal Tori Wilson's dog, which I thought was fucked up. Like I really thought that was fucked up. And then when she's trying to grab the dog back, the guy pulls down her bra.
Yeah, that's taken a little too far.
Yeah. Let's just say this guy got by the security team, so I thought that was pretty funny.
As wrestling fans, and it's, I'd like to think that social media has made us worse. And I'm only saying that because I'd like to think that there's still hope that, because there is a lot of good people in the wrestling community and in wrestling fans, especially like talent. Like, there's a lot of great people. But there's some. I get why people hate wrestling fans though too. You know what I mean? Because I totally understand how annoying we can be at times, including myself. I'm not stone throwers, relax. But there's things, man, where we take it too far as wrestling. Like, especially when it comes to, I'm so glad that this Me Too movement's going on, and it just, like I keep saying, man, you just keep wondering when the other shoe's gonna drop in this industry, and I hope it never does. I hope that there isn't, because it seems to hit every other industry. It's hit, everywhere from politics to the movies to the media to, you name it. Everyone is going down, and I don't know. At the end of the day, they're entertainers in the public light. I hope.
I got a question for you since you were down there in New Orleans. How is it inside like the dome? Like, I've never been there before. Like, is it a cool stadium? Are the seats good? I've never been there before, so I'm looking for a little scouting report, I guess.
All right. So how can I say this without being? It's whatever. People are going to get offended. It kind of gives off like a real like post Katrina vibe inside. No, listen, it is not reflective of the city. The one thing that I remember is the bathroom lines were horribly long. I don't, and again, this is why I always say that I don't really look at WrestleMania is like, I get it that that's the reason everybody goes to that city because you're going for WrestleMania. But when you go to so many of them, you start to go for the entire experience, and that WrestleMania kind of is just like the icing on top of the cake. It's like it's just like the payoff. It's like the end credits kind of deal. The stadium, it was cool to say that was there, but I think the city of New Orleans deserves something better. It's a wonderful city. I mean, the people in New Orleans are amazing people. Like, if you go down to New Orleans for Mania, guys, and you're worried about you're going to have the time of your life. You're not even going to care who's even on the card. Trust me. I mean, the people of New Orleans make you feel so welcome and so at home, and just it's one of the most beautiful cities I've ever been to in my life, culturally and from like just a civility level. The people there are amazing, and it's the place sucks. Like the Superdome sucks. Hopefully they get into it and they get something new soon. That's just my opinion, though. But, you would think. I mean, we just have to remember that it kind of lived through Katrina, so it's kind of still I don't know if it really ever recovered.
That's weird, man. Nothing will get worse for me than that freaking neighborhood I was in last year. Jesus Christ, man.
I was in the same stadium for WrestleMania 24. Strange placement for the, what is it now? It's not the Orange Bowl anymore, right?
No, it's Camping World Stadium.
It wasn't the Orange Bowl before. What was it?
The Camping World Stadium.
Okay. Was it the Orange Bowl before that?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, not the Orange Bowl, the Citrus Bowl. There you go.
Citrus Bowl. That's it, yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's how little I care about all that stuff. Yeah, I was down there for that.
That was the
once you were inside, it was great. My biggest complaint was leaving.
Yes.
Like, I didn't like waiting 3 hours for a cab. That was horrible.
Yeah, that was brutal. That was when CM Punk won the Money in the Bank ladder match. Yes.
And ironically, Matt Hardy made a wonderful comeback that night too.
Yes, and costing MVP the match. Yes.
Yep.
Tremendous.
See, Matt Hardy always popping up in my WrestleMania memories.
Yeah, yeah. It's something intertwined with him. He has to make a return at every Citrus Bowl Mania going forward.
Right.
It's crazy, like the evolutions of like the stadiums and the shows I got to. Like you said, the one in Chicago was the last arena show. And then I went to Levi's Stadium, which was a very, very nice place. The 49ers have a very nice setup, and it was kind of cool to see the actual 49ers training facility, because it's literally like the backyard of that stadium. So everything 49ers is like right there in that area. And then across the street they have Six Flags, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Santa Clara was a good place. I don't know if I would live out there. Maybe I'd be more in the San Jose area, but I enjoyed my time in California, and that was fun. And then it's crazy. Chicago's been very lucky when it comes to like WrestleMania moments with that, because you had them being part of the 3 WrestleMania show at WrestleMania 2. You had Austin and Bret Hart double turn at WrestleMania 13, and it's like, you know, everybody's complaining about cards, but he had one of the biggest WrestleMania moments with Bret Hart and Steve Austin at 13, and the main event was Undertaker, my guy, by the way, against Psycho Sid.
How about that, huh? Ironically, that was the WrestleMania that, I think it was either that year or the year before. I want to say that was the year, though, that I kind of got back into wrestling.
97, right?
Somewhere there. So I think it was like 96, 97 is when I kind of started getting back in. Funny story of how I got back into wrestling, but we'll talk about that off here.
All right.
No, years back it used to be that if you got the pay-per-view on Sundays, and this will take people back that remember this, if you actually got WrestleMania, what they did was they would run every pay-per-view that they ran that year leading up to WrestleMania. So you can get all the other pay-per-views leading up to it too. So I remember I think something happened where I got like my wisdom teeth out or something or other. So I was just like hemmed up, couldn't do much, and I just remember kicking back and was like, wow, I missed a lot. and it wrote me back in. And again, dude, it wasn't Undertaker versus Sid Vicious or Psycho Sid or Sid Justice or Sid's ankle on a platter or whatever shit it was. It was Austin and Bret Hart that was like, okay, I need to start watching this like a lot again, and like a lot. So I was flirting with watching it again, but it was like that marathon night. It was like, yep, I'm sold.
Raw this past Monday was in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I'm going to give a shout out to my Aunt Kim, my godmother, and her boyfriend Jeremy. They're scoring some front row tickets, getting all the fame and the publicity, getting all the screen time. And I see Jeremy marking out and strumming with Elias when he's going down the ring for the Dave Mustaine match, which was hilarious. The Symphony for Destruction match. So I want to give a shout out to my godmother and Jeremy, who I'll see this Sunday for Fastlane. They got a lot of airtime at the Bradley Center. Cool story about the Bradley Center. I went there for the Elimination Chamber in 2012. I had one of the shirts where it says, were they selling those shirts? Yes, I actually bought a Cena Sucks shirt at the time, a WWE shop Cena Sucks shirts at the time, and I had it. I brought it to the arena. This kid comes up to me, and I started to see the bigger picture at that standpoint. So I'm 18 at the time. It's 2012. I'm at the Elimination Chamber. This little kid, he has to be like 9 years old, right? And he comes up to me, and he's like, "No, Cena doesn't suck. You suck." I thought that was awesome. That's tremendous.
There was a moment when I was living in Charlotte, man. We used to go out every Sunday in Charlotte. My buddy was a Bills fan. I'm a Raiders fan. I don't know if anybody's a Panthers fan, but Charlotte's so transient. There's so so many transplants down there, where you go out to any bar or whatever on a Sunday, and you're partying with Steeler fans and Bears fans. Yeah, there's whomever's out there. So, but to make a long story short, we would always meet up with the same crew every Sunday, and the lady would always bring her son. And her son was a big wrestling fan, and he liked wrestling, whatever. And I had at the time it was a Punk shirt that I just, for whatever reason, just wanted to get rid of. I was buying a bunch of other CM Punk shirts. I knew you really like wrestling. I said, "Here, man, I brought something for you." And I gave it to him, so I was moving back to Pittsburgh. I think it's maybe a little bit before. And the kid was like, "Yeah," he was like, "Oh, I don't really like CM Punk as much." I looked at him and I said, "Nah, trust me, you will." And he did. It ended up later on. But it's one of those, man, as you get older, you start to look at, and I was, again, when I was starting to get in my late 20s, you start to look at wrestling a little bit different. Not saying I still wasn't a little punk-ass mark like in my early 30s either. That's not what I'm saying.
Right.
But as you get older, you start to see that wrestling is more for, you're a little more cognizant of things. And maybe chance that you do at events. And, I don't know, you're just more aware of your surroundings.
Right.
Like I said, there's a reason why I won't take my daughter to a show in Pittsburgh yet. Maybe another city, but Pittsburgh fans still think that every show they go to is an ECW event. And I get it. It's a difference. I'm not hating on that, but I just know that it's not, it's not time to take my daughter there yet because I don't want her hearing just some of the vile vomit that people are spewing, just because they like to drink 37 beers and, spit out whatever comes out of their mouth. I'll take her to a more family-friendly city.
Yeah, chugging down 30 beers before the show goes live on air.
Listen, I'm not hating on that either because I had plenty of those days. I'm not proud of them. I don't recommend them. I'm very open about demons in my past, and I look at what I was at in my 20s and think, wow. Especially now as a father, and so guys, I'm speaking from experience. I don't mean to seem ageist or anything, but.
I have two things I want to compact from Raw really quick before we get into thoughts about Fastlane. First off, really cool opening segment with Ronda Rousey. We got the announcement that Ronda Rousey and Kurt Angle will be taking on the Authority at WrestleMania. Ronda's going to be part of every Raw before WrestleMania, which is cool. I really enjoyed the segment. I thought Kurt Angle had some nice edge to him as well in that segment. And before I'm pretty sure before Raw, before WrestleMania, Triple H or Stephanie's gonna beat up Kurt Angle and Ronda really bad. I mean, it's wrestling. I get Ronda Rousey's the MMA fighter, and you don't want to make her look bad before a pay-per-view. But let's be honest, folks. Stephanie or somebody, she's gonna get her ass whipped before the pay-per-view happens. It's gonna happen, and it's either gonna be her or it's gonna be Kurt Angle that's getting his ass whipped before WrestleMania.
Well, I feel like they have to get the best of Ronda before WrestleMania just to place some kind of doubt. I actually personally think, and this is just me, I think Triple H and Steph win. I mean, that's just where I'm at. And however it shakes down, I mean, that's just me. I just always never count on a McMahon. That's what people always forget. Like, no matter how big of a name you are, the McMahons are always, because we're living in their universe. It's not always about, it's they're characters. And just like on Walking Dead, Rick is always still the main character, regardless of any of the characters are more popular than him at that time or whatever, So.
Yeah, the Authority may win, but Ronda will break Stephanie's arm after the match. That's the moment. Ching ching, wink wink, nudge nudge.
I wouldn't mind seeing her just kind of turn on Kurt, like, I don't need you to stick up for me, like, you know what I mean? Like, I can fend for myself. Like, I don't know.
That'd be interesting.
I actually would kind of, I would like to see that.
No, I agree, dude. I think that'd be interesting. The other part of Raw. Go ahead.
Let me ask you a question. I'm so sorry to cut you off, but let me pose this question to you. Do you think, in a way, because some people are happy about this match, some people aren't. I wouldn't even, to be honest, thought about this match. I think they were going to continue the storyline from WrestleMania 31. I'm glad they are. But something I saw it talked about online. It's the only reason I even thought about this before they actually pulled the trip run. But are you looking too much into this run up until WrestleMania as far as character development for Rousey, or do you think we're going to know really more about the Rousey character after Mania? Because, my personal opinion is this is just kind of the honeymoon phase where we just start to get used to her being on TV, but we're not really going to know what they're going to do with her as a character until after Mania.
I already saw advertisements for travel packages for SummerSlam and Survivor Series already. She's going to be at those shows, so she's going to be. I don't know if she's going to be a part-time, full-timer thing. Like, I don't know where they're going to go with that. But for me, as far as like a character standpoint, I'm not going to overlook it because I know what WrestleMania is. This is the one time of the year where casual fans are going to watch the show. So, you know who Ronda Rousey is a badass. Yeah, maybe you don't know everything about her personality, but they'll splice that into whatever video package they air before WrestleMania. I'm pretty sure Michael Cole will do like a sit-down interview with Ronda or something like that. They do that a lot with a lot of these like WrestleMania like attraction programs. So I think that'll happen if you want to talk about character development from that standpoint. I'm not in a rush. I think you want to make her evolve and adapt with her personality. You can do that after WrestleMania.
Exactly.
Ronda Rousey is the attraction. That's already selling WrestleMania by itself. If people don't want to believe that, you're just fooling yourself.
And I don't like to be using this as an example today, but it's an easy example for me to use just because I used it earlier and because I'm a mark. I don't know. You always go back to like some of your favorite people, but
right.
Whenever Triple H came back from his injury, we all knew he was eventually getting turned heel because Triple H was just much better as a heel. And I don't think it was much better as a heel, but we all know that deep down that Triple H is a heel character,
Yeah.
And we just were enjoying that honeymoon phase of him kind of getting the crowd pops because when he went down with injury, it sucked because he was one of the bad guys we loved to cheer for, and yeah, I think it's the same thing with Ronda Rousey. Because now they have the interest, you're getting a lot of people's interest. I think she's getting better. I don't know if, listen, she's a fan just like any of us. So you throw one of us out there in front of 15,000, 16,000 people your first night, you might flub a line or two too. Angle wasn't that great on the mic his first year. But dude, I think that they would be dumb not to ride, what I keep calling the honeymoon phase through WrestleMania. And this is the smartest time to bring her in because then all you're doing is introducing her. We're kind of getting a little taste of her, and then like you said, after Mania, then focus on now she's really in the women's division. Now we can focus on, is she going to be a protagonist, an antagonist? Is she going to be, what are they going to do with her mic work-wise? Is she going to be, are they going to make her like less is more? Are they going to expect her, because I actually do feel that there are going to be a lot more, it's going to be less is more. It's going to be more of the women trying to lambaste her and her really only having to say like 3 or 4 words and just start wreck shop. You know what I mean?
And you can also look at where they're going to go with this angle before WrestleMania. I mean, we've been watching this for a long time. I'm not going to be surprised on a Raw in a couple weeks or so that they're going to try to ban Ronda from the building. I mean, come on. We know that's going to happen. Hell, it may happen on Monday. But, I want to let this play out. I just want to enjoy the ride and the journey of this. You can see the passion and how much fun she's having in the ring. Like, you can tell that she's having a blast with this. So I think that's the cool part about what's going on right now. I'm not in a rush to see what her full redefined character is. We're not at that stage.
No, but you know what? One thing I think would be fun for me, and this is just me, and I think I love a good heel because it feels real. Something that for me would be awesome is if she actually turned on, like a Kevin Smith, she turned on Kurt and was actually just in cahoots with McMahon's all along. And this whole I don't want preferential treatment, she actually gets preferential treatment.
Right.
It was just basically a big coup to get Kurt Angle out of WWE. I don't want that. I'm talking storyline, to care guys. But I think there would be something fun about seeing her go from, all right, she's finally here, to turn, and she ends up being like a corporate stooge. And I know I keep going back to that, but it just, as much as people hate it, it's always effective when they do it, I think we really need to start appreciating Triple H, and especially Stephanie McMahon is a treasure.
Yes.
She is so under, I don't understand how people can still say, well, she's really not that good, or Stephanie McMahon is arguably one of the best characters that you're going to find on a week, and consistent on a week-to-week basis. And, I just think that anytime they put somebody with them, it works.
Yeah.
And it's just because we love it's that you love to hate what you're not kind of, kind of situation. And I don't know, I just think it would be a fun storyline for Rousey all of a sudden turn, like basically, I'm not here for any of you, I'm here for me, I want championships, I'm driven by
You know, and this is gonna be a good segue for our next topic. I love Heat. And, you know, it's funny about what I played last week with the segment those guys were ripping on Roman Reigns, and the guy was getting on his soapbox about, oh, I just want to go home happy. I want a WrestleMania that finish when it makes me happy. This is wrestling. Not only less is more, but more heat. At the end of the day, if I can have characters where there's heat thrust throughout the majority of the show, and you don't have the answers to every segment or feud that's going on, that means your product's in a good place, because you shouldn't have to know where everything is going. That's why you have 5 weeks of television to build to that next pay-per-view. So whether it's Ronda Rousey or this Roman Reigns Brock Lesnar feud, more heat the better.
You know what I'm going to start doing? I'm going to start going to like all my favorite action movies, especially the comic book movies that intertwine with one another through like not only the DC but Marvel universes. And I'm going to leave 15 minutes before the end of every movie, so I've missed the last battle, because the last battle's so predictable anyway. And we're going to leave every movie out, so that way I don't get to see the last 15 minutes. And that way, whenever I go to see the next movie anyway, like I'm going to, I'm going to just argue and say, oh, yeah, it's going to be predictable because you know the good guys win.
Right.
So I'm going to leave again 15 minutes early, and then I'm just going to keep repeating the same cycle. And you know, there's a term for doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result.
Right.
Oh, it's called insanity. Insanity. And it's coming from someone that's clinically insane. It's not a good cycle to be in. So, let's just, can we please stop with this? Like, this is the only form of entertainment that we feel like we have to tell them how to write their story.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not saying that there aren't certain years, dude, where I'm not saying, you know, but I just, like, and I'm not saying I don't understand that Braun Strowman is had a hell of a year, and I know that's everyone's complaint that I've seen online and that I've seen, you know. Thankfully, I kind of, like, cut all of social media out of my life, so it's like, whatever now. You know, I don't have to see all, like any of the BS. But I get that, like, Strowman has had, like, a great year momentum-wise. In a way, and this is the thing we always talk about, Josh. Okay, so you just throw him in the main event instead of Roman Reigns, give him the title. How do we know that doesn't kill his momentum?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
Don't we want that momentum to carry over? The story doesn't end. The movie does not end. You know, unlike, like, if I went to go see Justice League and walked out 15 minutes before, WWE is on the very next night, and the night after that, and the week after that. You know, so what if SummerSlam's when does Brock's contract run out? August?
Yeah, August.
So if Brock Lesnar walks out of WrestleMania as champion, and everybody's like, well, at least, and everybody's mad that they didn't give it to Roman Reigns, but Roman Reigns is the one that you guys are all complaining about anyway. Maybe all of this is to set up the ultimate payoff at SummerSlam, because what have we always said, Josh? SummerSlam is for the wrestling bubble fan. WrestleMania is for the casual and shareholder fan. It's as clear as day.
Yes.
Look at every year. SummerSlam is more storyline driven with twists, turns, Jon Stewart coming out with his hair. You know what I mean? Like, think about it.
Stephen Amell.
WrestleMania is more for, you know, like Joe, whoever that hasn't watched wrestling all year but wants to tune in and see it, or somebody that's getting in that work for their kids and they have to sit through it for whatever. We forget that as fans, that they're in a way they're actually like two different shows that are geared differently, and maybe that's the moment for Strowman. Wouldn't it be better if there was even like, because when you're writing a story, you get a crowd to its boiling point. Maybe we're not at the boiling point yet, but at SummerSlam, that might be the moment. You know, that small, intimate crowd. So that roar of Brock Lesnar losing to Braun Strowman, the roar of that crowd defines what making a star is.
My thing.
Maybe that's just me.
Yeah. I get what you're saying. I guess for me, like, my thing is like, I don't feel like every solution for a WrestleMania main event that the bubble doesn't want is the triple threat main event. Like, we've been I think that thing has been done to death. With, like, you know, it's been a running thing for 4 years, all over for one guy. By the way, it's either you hate him that much, or you actually do like him, where you have this much venom thrust towards WrestleMania and Roman Reigns for 4 straight years like that.
I don't watch Tom Brady throughout the playoffs because I hate him. invest all these playoff games every year to a team that I have no stake in. I appreciate Tom Brady as a player, and it's controversy. People can shit on me for that. I think he's a hell of a player. I think he's there's a lot of quarterbacks out there that I like, but even my own. But I'm sorry, I would take Tom Brady over Derek Carr 7 out of 7 days of the week. And people can hate on me for that. It's whatever. But what am I going to do? Sit there and keep talking shit on the Patriots? No. My dad finally caved this year. I mean, this is a 59-year-old man that finally was like, listen, it is what it is. I know I watched him because I'm going to see Brady lose, and I know that basically just means that I'm watching the Patriots to watch the Patriots. But he's like, just let me frame it in my mind however I need to frame it. At least he finally just admitted it. Whatever, I'm a fan. Just don't let me admit that I'm a fan.
Hey, you know what? Call Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar predictable. Okay, that's fine. Do what you have to do. But here's my thing. I was there for that Santa Clara match. That match was awesome before Seth Rollins came out. I think they can outdo that match. No matter who wins, I really don't care. But if people can hate me for this, I would rather have Roman Reigns as a long-reign champion, not breaking CM Punk's record. I'm not going to be naive with that. I'm not. That's not my point. I'd rather have Roman Reigns be a long-term champion on Raw with the Universal Champion than having to sit through a run with a guy who can't decide whether or not he wants to be in UFC or not. I'm done. I'm done with Brock Lesnar, folks. Take your venom for Roman Reigns and do what you have to do with it. But for me, I'm sick of Brock Lesnar being shoved down my fucking throat. How about that?
And
let me turn the table on you.
Too is they're being very smart. I'm not sold. All the world's a stage, brother. I'm not buying this whole thing with Lesnar no showing, this whole thing. I don't know. A lot of it's too reminiscent of the build up to 31. Unless Brock Lesnar is that predictable that he's using this as leverage for another contract again, which is absolutely possible. It just seems too carbon copy for me to believe that there isn't some strange part of a work going on right now. Especially because I definitely don't think Roman. And listen, Roman's promo a couple weeks ago, and Roman and Heyman on Monday night absolutely are selling this match. I mean, if you're not interested in this match that these two, just the back and forth these guys have had so far, I'm sorry. And this is not. I'm coming from somebody that I'm kind of indifferent on both of these guys. I'm not. But I do think that this is going to be a much better match than people are looking on. And I think the build's been fine so far. I think that you say it like if Paul Heyman doesn't talk you in because it's the easy out because of course Paul Heyman's going to talk us into the building. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But Roman Reigns did his part the week before too. And that's where we have to stop. It doesn't matter if it was partially scripted. It doesn't matter if it was fully scripted. It doesn't matter if they knew, if they didn't know. Josh, right now what are they doing? They're making us hate Brock Lesnar more, and they're doing their job.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So whether it's something that organically is happening because Brock is looking for more money and is eyeing up UFC, or if this is something that's just kind of is a work from the jump. We'll never know, and we can listen to whatever site we want to, or this and that and the other thing. That's fine. But at the end of the day, whatever's going on and however WWE is handling, it's working because people are being very angry about anything dealing with Brock Lesnar. And I'm not saying people are overly enthusiastic about Roman Reigns, but there's more Lesnar hate going on than there is disappointment about Roman Reigns, I guess. You know what I mean? It just seems like there's, and I think that's smart. The match that just happened in Chicago, dude, of course Lesnar's going to just wipe out Kane. Come on. And especially if they want to build heat on him so that podcasts go crazy and the internet talks about it and whatever, and you need to bring attention to a house show, what better way to do it?
Right.
One
thing about that house show, I did not, for those who wondering, I didn't get a chance to go. I've been using and saving my money wisely for this trip to New Orleans. So I was very bummed about not going to the United Center show because the United Center is 5 minutes driving distance from my house. So they haven't done a show at the United Center since SummerSlam '94, and I was like 3 months at that time. So I'm bummed I wasn't able to go to that show, but get to see Alexa Bliss by the Bulls locker room, and Sasha Banks is trying to take a picture with the Michael Jordan statue, even though she's not on his level. I'm sorry for any of the stands out there. She's not, but I'm glad there was actually a good turnout. I don't know if you saw the pictures or not, but it looked like that house show actually sold out surprisingly. So shout out to everybody that got to check out that show on Saturday.
See, that's good, and I think that's important on the build up to Mania, because they know that, especially like the hotter cities, like I'll admit I'm catching myself watching a little bit more wrestling right now, and it's I'm excited for WrestleMania. I'm not naive to that, right? You know what I mean? I've been excited for the past couple pay-per-views. With Fastlane coming up and the Rumble a couple months ago, and whatever the hell last year was. I'm over trying to remember all these names, guys. I think it's like he's not really a fan. I just don't care about event titles anymore. Just entertain me, and I'm happy. I'm done trying to nitpick the product like that. But I have been watching a lot more about recently, and even just random interviews and stuff like that. The interviews aren't giving stuff away. I should say. I want to clarify that, but
right.
I don't know, man. It's always a good time to be a wrestling fan. It's definitely a good time to be a wrestling fan right now. And anytime it's starting the WrestleMania season, it's good for all wrestling fans. It's good for the independent fans. It's good for independent talent. It's just because wrestling is such a hot button issue. They did a wrestling skit on the Daley Show the other night.
Right.
Just because there's an indie wrestler, I guess, that's wrestling as the progressive liberal or something.
I found out that Impact's doing a special with Lucha Underground that weekend too. So it's Impact against Lucha.
See, and anything that way is pretty big.
Yeah.
Any kind of crossover stuff is big. It's just good for the business as a whole. And WrestleMania weekend, no matter your feelings for WWE aside, it is good. It is best for everybody's business. So you get excited and start watching a little more.
All right, one last thing before we go into Fastlane. We've seen movies come out over the last couple of months. I saw a remake of an old movie called Death Wish with Bruce Willis the other night, and I thought it was pretty good, actually. I'm taking my bias out, even though the show was filmed in Chicago, and they had a lot of the B-roll shots, and unfortunately I had to listen to freaking voiceover clips from Mancow, one of the biggest douchebags I've ever met in my entire life. But for anybody that hasn't seen Death Wish yet, go check out that movie. It's very good. They have Black Panther out that's been getting a lot of nice commercial success. Very happy for them, especially for a movie where they're just making so much money off of that, and it's not X-Men related or this or that. It's Black. It's not even the Avengers. It's like one of the small characters from the Avengers movie getting the big spotlight. So I think that's very cool. And we had the Oscars this past Sunday. And I just wanted to get your thoughts on the Oscars because I loved it. I loved the bit where they go to the movie theater and they're passing out popcorn and treats to the folks watching the movie. I thought that was very funny. I thought there were some good musical performances. Some people were complaining about the overly political stances and Me Too acceptance speeches. I didn't have a problem with that. If somebody's speaking from the heart, let them fucking talk. It shouldn't matter what their stance is. So, what was your thoughts on the Oscars before we go to our final segment here?
I really watched I probably watched the last hour because I wanted to see if they were actually going to give an award to Jordan Peele.
Yes.
I didn't watch the full thing. Strangely, I didn't check any highlights or anything. None of this bothers me. Like, listen, it's tough for people to hear some of the social issues that are going on right now, whether it be things going on with the Me Too movement, whether it be people are tired of hearing about guns, or people are tired. We got to have these tough conversations. So maybe it needs to be in your face. You know what I mean? Maybe it needs to be in your face. I mean, if it makes you feel uncomfortable, good. That means it's a conversation that needs to be had. So I've never understood people that say, athletes should stick to dribbling a basketball. Well, okay, Ms. Reporter Lady, maybe you should stick to reporting and not be a politician.
Right.
Maybe certain people, when given a voice, just like anybody else, if they've had certain experiences in their lives that they feel they need to share, and it helps advance, it helps advance not only the human race, but it helps, in a moment of time and or gradually over years upon years upon years. Don't we need people like that? And I guess, Josh, I don't know, the last thing I'll say about Oscars, because, everyone wants to always put it on entertainment, and then once sports come back around, they throw it on sports, then the Grammys come around, so they throw it on music, and then nothing's around, so they throw it on video games, and it doesn't matter whether it's guns or just regular violence or language or whatever, but ultimately, man, at least in my opinion, I guess none of this really matters to me, because history always tells us the ones that people are really the angriest about are the ones that we're going to look back on as actual leaders in social justice movements. And I'm not talking about the overly complaining internet of, like, 2PC, that's not what I'm talking about. But there was a lot of people that didn't like Muhammad Ali back in the day.
Right.
And, right now, there isn't a man alive that won't defend that he might not be the greatest man to ever walk this earth. Unless you're religious and people say Jesus Christ, but just go with me here, people. I don't want to offend the religious people out there. But realistically, like, in hindsight, let's look at guys like Jim Brown, Jackie Robinson. You know what I mean? Some were activists vocally. Some didn't have to say much. But at the end of the day, we look back at these people as heroes now. And everybody that wants to throw shade at any of these actors or athletes or musicians or anybody that's in touch with, just like people claim that Trump is, they're in touch with the common man because they see the common man versus a typical politician. We need to hear their voices too. And I think that's important. So, there comes a time when it's time for us to stop trying to talk over people and let people and just listen. I don't want to talk about a situation with guns, and it's current. That's why I'm using this as an example. I've never been in a situation where I've been inside of a school where bullets have been going flying across the room. But there are kids right now that are seeing this, so maybe we should just listen, because we can say that we know better all we want, but until you're actually in that situation, I don't know. I think your opinions can change, because we're human, and opinions should change. Especially as you grow and mature and stuff. So that was a long way of saying, if you have a problem with anything that's being said at the Oscars, the Grammys, or any of these shows, or anything that's, maybe it's time to do some personal reflection and find out why it's bothering you.
It was nice seeing my celebrity crush, Margot Robbie, get, like, the superstar treatment at the Oscars. Front row and everything. They're making it out as the biggest thing, and it's pretty freaking cool. So you had her and Gal Gadot as well.
Gal Gadot is so hot. But in Margot Robbie, we got to see Tanya the weekend of the Oscars. We were just like, whatever, let's put it on.
How was it?
If anybody hasn't seen that, I think it was awesome.
How was it?
It was tough to watch, but it was very good.
I haven't seen it yet.
But it's just the way that they portray Tanya Harding's character, though. It's like, there's some very difficult scenes to watch, but she's such a smart ass. It's like you're kind of laughing through a very, like, stuff that should be really disturbing. You know what I mean? It was a brilliant little movie. It really was.
All right, let's get to Fastlane really quick. Fastlane, our final show before WrestleMania. It's our final SmackDown exclusive show before the Dual Brand pay-per-views return. We have a couple matches on the card. I think Sunday is going to be a pretty good show for SmackDown. It gets the SmackDown some nice momentum going into WrestleMania. We don't know everything as far as what SmackDown's going to deliver for WrestleMania yet, but I think we're in for a good show on Sunday. So let's start this off really quick. We don't have to go in depth with our picks or whatever, but we have a match that was announced on Tuesday. It was Becky Lynch and Naomi against Natalya and Carmella.
Oh, that's going on Sunday?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Pre-show? Or on the actual card?
I think it'll be on the kickoff show, yeah.
Kickoff, okay. See, I'm going to have to go with, I'm going with Naomi and Becky on that one. I think you keep Carmella kind of in the dark right now just because with the possibility of her cashing in or when is she going to cash in. Like, you always want to keep that luster on it. And like I always say, like, the more you have the money in the briefcase holder lose, the more doubt you put in people's minds. So whether they cash in or not, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter. You almost want to place that doubt. So I would go with Naomi and Becky on that one.
Let's continue with the ladies. We have Charlotte against Ruby Riott. I'm looking forward to this match.
Good.
I'm looking forward to this match because I saw Heidi Lovelace perform a lot at AEW before she came to WWE. So the fact that she's getting to have a spotlight on a pay-per-view with Charlotte, I think that's very cool. But I'm going to go with Charlotte. Who do you have in this one?
I think Charlotte too. I'm a big Ruby fan. I think everyone in the Daley household is, but I think just being in this match is enough exposure for these three women in the Riot Squad right now. Let me ask you a question, brother. Why are we assuming that Asuka is going to wrestle Alexa Bliss?
I don't know why. I think we'll find out on Monday whether or not that's happening or not.
I mean, because and I think that's the one thing that with this match, and these are all the variables that I'm looking at, and this is why I'm staying off the internet, and this is where it's fun for me, because I could see it going that before Mania, Carmella cashes in, gets the title, so that obviously the rematch, it just makes sense. There you go, Charlotte, Carmella, WrestleMania, boom, whatever. But just with the way the story is being told on Raw right now, it's Alexa and Nia just seems so natural for that to be the match. And, Asuka never really said anything. And, now that she can kind of see that maybe Ronda isn't there to necessarily, if that was the initial threat, I get it. People were saying, they had the hand away. We could say that was more Asuka rejecting her than her rejecting Asuka, But so, what if she showed up on the pay-per-view after Charlotte won?
I think that'd be awesome.
And then said, this is who I'm choosing. Or what if, and I'm not, because and this is just me, I'm gonna take a lot of heat for this because I just right now think that I think Asuka is a champion right now because we don't want her to lose yet. Is better suited for SmackDown only because on Raw you're expected to do more with the microphone, and I'm a little concerned.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's three women matches.
Fans of Asuka, please nobody take that the wrong way. It's just,
oh man.
I think that's where I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Asuka show up, maybe even Tuesday or whatever. But that's the curveballs I'm looking at this. I absolutely think Charlotte wins. But now for me, it's like, okay, so are we going to see a cash-in or is Asuka challenging? Because if you challenge, Asuka has never said anything. We're just assuming that she's staying on Raw.
Right, you get Asuka and Charlotte, and then what's going on with Alexa and Nia, I thought was fine on Raw, at least from a character development standpoint. Some people rip Nia River, and that's ridiculous. I have a clip from the Disco Inferno that I'm airing at the beginning of this podcast where I just heard some of the stupidest shit I've heard in my entire life. So you guys are in store for that. But
Go ahead. For Nia Monday night though, that was one where it's obviously they know going in, but that's still a tough promo to lay on anybody. You know what I mean?
Right.
That was tough. But again, this is exactly why it's supposed to be that tough watch, right? They're building sympathy for Nia, right?
Yes,
it's
sir.
Absolutely working. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Yeah. So for me, I've been waiting for Aliyah and Nexa. Aliyah. Why do I keep saying Aliyah? What the fuck am I thinking about?
Because you want to walk with Elias, brother. That's why you're saying it.
Yes. Who wouldn't want to walk with Elias at this point?
I do. I know I do.
I've been waiting to see Alexa and Nia since SummerSlam. I did not think we needed to see Sasha at that show, but hey, we needed to have the Justin Bieber brigade for Sasha to have a title match, or she's buried. It's freaking ridiculous.
Well, here's something about Sasha, dude, and I know we're talking more about SmackDown right now, but here's something I think that maybe it would be good for us to think about as fans. Right now, and just follow me here, people. Josh, you know where I'm going with this. Ronda Rousey is, whether anybody likes her or not, Ronda Rousey is the biggest name in the women's division. I'm sorry, it just is. I can look back in hindsight and eat humble pie and understand why John Cena and The Rock main evented over CM Punk and Chris Jericho.
Right.
Because if I were to walk into somebody's house and say, hey, you know who CM Punk is? Chances are they're going to say no. If I would have went, hey, you know who The Rock is? They're going to be like, yep. And it's like that, if I were to walk into my dad's house and say, hey, you know who Sasha Banks is? He'll look at me like I was speaking like 18 different languages to him, right? But if I say, you know who Ronda Rousey is, my dad, absolutely knows who Ronda Rousey is. So, regardless, the biggest name, even though, albeit new, the biggest name is in a mixed tag match. It's really a special attraction match.
Yes, it is. Yep.
The WWE title match, and hear me out on this one, I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's Asuka, the Raw Women's Championship. I don't care if it's Asuka. I don't care if it's Nia. I think it's going to be and I know, guys, I'm using the term wrong, but I think it's going to be a squash match. I think Alexa's getting, stomped. No matter it be Asuka. So if you wanted Sasha in the title match, you're not really doing her any good. In my personal opinion, Sasha Banks versus Bayley in a grudge match and it doesn't even have to have a stipulation, but Sasha versus Bayley in a grudge match where right now we don't know who's the antagonist or protagonist is, they have a better chance of making an impact of that's the match. Like match of the night type of deal. Like we're talking Steamboat versus the Macho Man. You know what I mean? Like this is the type of match that they can have. So in my opinion, Sasha Banks has the most important match out of the Raw card on WrestleMania. So we can cry and we can whine and we can whatever that there's no title involved. I think, in my opinion, it doesn't need a title, and it's actually the most important match. So that's just my take on it, and when you look at it through, that's just how I'm looking at it. The biggest name's in a special attraction. The title might be a throwaway match. The main women's match from Raw is going to be Bayley versus Sasha Banks. It's a story that transcends championships. That's a storyline. That's a superstar. But stop with it. She's going to win championships. She's going to win much more. We don't always need a title around her, guys. Titles mean more to the wrestlers than they do to the fans. Trust me. It's just the way that it is. I don't know, Josh. I mean, how do you feel about that?
I think it's an interesting thing to ponder because you don't know where they're going to go from. Who's going to be the heel? Who's going to be the good girl in this situation? For me, the thing I'm trying to figure out is how they're going to have enough time to put them on the show. Are you going to have them on the kickoff show? Does it matter either way if they're on the kickoff show or not? That's the thing. Like, I know we're getting the 2 women title matches, and for me, with everything that's going on right now, I don't think it's a problem to have multiple women matches at WrestleMania because women have been putting in a lot of good work this year for long stretches throughout the year. So I have no issue with that. I'm just trying to figure out how you're going to space out where these matches are going to be on the show and who's going to be put on the kickoff show. I guess that's the stuff I'm thinking about.
You know what, Josh? Sam and I were talking about it because we were like, wait a minute. We're trying to start predicting, okay, what match is going to happen. Like, we were having fun with it. And we were up to 6 women's matches. And
6?
You really think about it, but we were. But if you think about it, between the pre-show, that's going to be 2 hours long, and WrestleMania, it's probably going to be, 4.5?
Yeah.
They absolutely could. Absolutely. Especially when, we could argue that the most compelling storylines this year have been in the women's division.
Yeah, probably.
Through not only character development, but surprise debuts, but a little bit of everything kind of going on. We could argue that, and just because everyone likes to debate, but you could argue that the women's division actually had a brighter year, and I understand money-wise and stuff like that, but I'm talking within the wrestling bubble, you know? So, in a way, I can absolutely see them. And I know this sounds like, and there's a lot of people that are going to laugh, but one of the last shows that Sam and I did when we were doing Wrestling With My Life, we're basically half the show was talking about how 2018 is going to be the year that women main event not only a pay-per-view, but eventually, when the time is right, there's going to be women that are going to main event WrestleMania. You know, when the time's right for the fans. I think like a month later, the Royal Rumble happens, the Women's Rumble main event. You know, it's been a big year for women's wrestling. So, Josh, honestly, 5 or 6 matches over 7 hours. That's absolutely feasible and do, I would think.
It's going to be interesting. I think the women are going to get their just due. You have, if you want to add Ronda and Stephanie to the equation as well, you have 4 women's matches thrust on this show, and they all play an important part for each other's brands and where the division goes as a whole going throughout the rest of the year. So I think it's really cool. I like what's going on with the women's division from the top to bottom for both shows. I had a blast covering the Mania Classic last year, which was a lot of fun. And even stuff with NXT, I think they're doing good stuff there too. So the women are doing good stuff. And I think Charlotte and Ruby will even have a good match, going back to what we were talking about earlier. Go ahead.
Going back to Ruby too, brother, and this is a point that, and I want to bring up about Ruby. There's a lot of talent right now like Ruby and like Mandy Rose, and I mean, even Sonya Deville. I don't know, we're starting to develop almost like a mid-card tier of talent in a way, you know? Is it time that we have some sort of mid-card title for the women's division?
How about a women's TV title?
I am totally for it. All aboard.
All aboard? Yes.
Yeah, maybe I should use that in today. I'm sorry if anybody took that the wrong way. I'm trying to be a little cognizant about references. That sounded very bad. Like, jump on the train. No, I didn't mean that.
Yeah.
No, I totally, that's an idea I can get behind. Oh, I did it again. No. Okay, you might as well go on. So I got a million of them that you keep doing.
Next one here on the docket, we got Shinsuke Nakamura against Rusev. I'm glad this match is happening. I didn't think Nakamura had to be on the show, but if he was, I'm glad he's fighting Rusev. Rusev's going to get a nice spotlighted match in the pay-per-view on Sunday. It won't be super long, but either way, I'm going with Nakamura in this one.
Agree with everything you just said. I think it's a great setup match for WrestleMania. Rusev's a good worker. Rusev's a character everyone's pretty invested in right now too. You know what I mean? So the crowd's definitely going to have some energy behind it for this one. And this is what you want to showcase. You know, hey, listen, he's going to be in part of a co-main event for WrestleMania. And you want the casual fan to care about him, you know, and this is just another way of kind of introducing the casual fan that might just be tuning in to what exactly Shinsuke Nakamura, what he can do.
Yeah, and this pay-per-view is going to be in Columbus, Ohio, and I don't know how they are as far as, like, rowdy crowds or whatever, but it should be interesting if they... Crowd. You think so?
Yeah, you know what, I think Columbus is a pretty good city for wrestling.
Okay.
I do. I think I'm pretty sure because you get a lot of Cleveland that comes down, a lot of Cincy that goes up. So Ohio-wise, they have a really good, you know, plus just the college atmosphere of Columbus anyway. But I know a lot of Pittsburgh goes over, you know, a lot of people from this city travel over because it's only about 2.5 hours, 3 hours, maybe something like that. Mm-hmm. And that's not even counting, you know, on the west side, you know, going west of Columbus too. So it typically gets a pretty, I wouldn't compare it to like a Chicago or a Philly or, you know, New York or anything like that. But it's a solid crowd. Yeah.
Hopefully, it's not a crowd that just worries about beach balls the entire time.
Yeah, that jumped the shark. After like the first or second time, I kind of jumped the shark on that one.
Yeah. Next one. By the way, speaking about beach balls, I want to give a plug to Edge and Christian for their awesome podcast. The Bar is on their show this week. So Cesaro talks about his hatred for beach balls. So I recommend you guys checking out that podcast. ENC Pot of Awesomeness. Me and you are big Edge fans, and I think Christian is very, very underrated and underappreciated, in my opinion. So,
totally agree.
Yes.
Totally agree. Yeah, I love Christian. His entrance theme was my ringtone for like a good part of the
Next one, we have a match that would fill the bill in the AWA territory back in the day. I want to give a shout out to Hoodie for that. We have Nick Bockwinkel and Cowboy Bob Orton. No, I'm kidding. we got Bobby Roode against Randy Orton for the U.S. title.
This does have like an old school feel to it, don't it?
Yeah, that's why I'm kind of interested in this match. You know, you're not going to have a lot of high spots or whatever, but I for an old school fan like me, I can appreciate this type of match.
Yeah, I think this is one that, you know, we're probably going to get mixed reviews on this match, but this match I think, has the capabilities to steal a show. I think both of these guys are good enough workers, and we all know that you know, we don't need this thick layer of personality going into this match. We just want to see these two guys go at it, you know. I'm going with Bobby Roode, however, though, I believe.
I'm going to go with Randy Orton. I think Randy Orton's going to win this match. This is the
one title he hasn't had, huh?
Yeah, I think this could be the one change the trajectory for SmackDown going into WrestleMania. I think you can have Randy win, and then we can get our boy, the modern day Maharaja, back into the title picture after this pay-per-view. And think about this. You have Orton win the title. He's not going to have it for a long time. You get our boy Jinder to win the U.S. title at WrestleMania and get some heat, man. Think about that. That's perfect.
It honestly is.
Yes.
It really, I mean, it's because, and again, it's one of those shows where they know that they know how to push the levers on. Like, this is what kills me about when, and especially in hindsight, listen, I've done it too, but when we go all ape shit about something they do, like, they know they're hitting this career with us. They know exactly what levers they're pulling with the IWC, just like I always say, just so we can march to Twitter and talk about how bad WWE sucks. But that's funny, though, to see Jinder win the US side, but I do think my concern, Josh, I'm not going to lie, with Jinder, though, and not him kind of being interjected into the storyline, it's just that I don't want another triple threat, like we talked about earlier. It's almost like, but at the same time, you want to get as many people on the WrestleMania card as possible, too.
Right.
You know, that's the other flip of the coin, too, so it's like, I don't know. It's one of those where just because, and this is why I always say, man, I don't necessarily have to like everything. I just want to, let me just experience it first. So if they turn this into a triple threat where Jinder's involved, or even if it's like a one-on-one, I don't know. I think this would be more of a triple threat, though, right?
I think this could be something where it could be a ladder match, actually, for the U.S. title. I think you want to keep the three-way for Rollins and Miz and Balor. By the way, I'm really excited for the fact that that's a triple threat match. So,
it's gonna be amazing. Yeah.
I think for the U.S. you can do a ladder match, or if you need to add more guys, you can do a 6-pack challenge. You'll add the extra guys from the WWE title match. So it gives us something to do.
Yeah, and I'm okay with there being, I know a lot of people don't like it, but I'm okay with the mid-card titles having, not necessarily just a gimmick attached to it, but like, whether it's a triple threat or a fatal four-way, or, like you said, a 6-pack challenge, or a ladder match, no DQ match, that type of stuff at WrestleMania, I'm typically okay with when it's the mid-card titles, because how good are the mid-card titles as the fun storyline titles anyway? You know?
Right.
I get why their main title, the Universal Championship, they don't really put as much goofiness or as much campiness into the storylines. They try to be as very real and in the moment. You know what I mean? Like, I understand that. That's why I like when we get like the little fun stuff with the mid-card titles, I guess.
And it's good stuff to have in the beginning of the show. It's not filler, but it's good to have those type of matches at the beginning of the show, and then once you build throughout the show, then you get into the more grudge matches. And that's always the fun part about WrestleMania. You don't know where's this big main event style match going to be on the card, you know? So who knows? Maybe you have John Cena and The Undertaker in the middle of the show, something like that.
Right. And because remember, they always want to make sure the top of the hour, those are their big spots. You
Right.
know what I mean? The 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and now 11 o'clock, they want to make sure that, like, all those hours, there's something, like, major plot points going on. Then you work around that, you know, because those are always the anchors. Top of the hour is always the end. WrestleMania is no different than any other show.
All right, next one. We got the Usos against New Day SmackDown Live Tag Team titles. I think it'll be a fun match, but I don't think we have a decisive winner here. I think Benjamin and Gable interfere in this match. It starts adding up what's going to happen for the SmackDown tag teams at WrestleMania. So I think the Usos retain, but I think Gable and Benjamin get involved in this match.
I totally forgot about Benjamin and Gable. Yeah, I like it. I thought they would give him back to New Day just to, like, continue the feud over to Mania. I will admit, this is one where I feel like, even though it's been done, I know we've kind of seen it, I do feel like we always say, like, oh, they've earned it. This feels like it should be Usos versus New Day at Mania. They earned it. It's time. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I am definitely open to them making it a multi-competitor match, though. But I would like to make sure that New Day and both the Usos and New Day are in this championship match at Mania, though, just because I think, you know, arguably they and especially the Usos this past year, because they finally they took the chain, like Curtis Axel, they took the chains off. It was just time.
Yes.
It was time that they got to shine in the capacity that they needed to be a shine in. So I hope they get a one-on-one match versus something that's a little bit saturated. But at the same time, listen, a match on the WrestleMania card, you heard they're there how many, 9 years, 10 years, still haven't been on, or however many years, still haven't been on the WrestleMania main card. So I think any way that they get in, you know, the Usos will be cool. New Day especially, we forget that. As long as you're on the card, it's a win. So
Right.
I'm okay with whatever.
All right, lastly,
I know that might not be hard opinion enough for people, but it's kind of just be like, it's okay, whatever they do.
Right. All right, lastly, certainly not least, we got the six-pack challenge. John Cena, Baron Corbin, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, Dolph Ziggler, and AJ Styles. We had an interesting conclusion to SmackDown this week with Sami Zayn laying out Kevin Owens. And then he went off on the mic as SmackDown closed this week. Kind of caught me by surprise, but you know, you have Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, who would be like a grudge match at WrestleMania, and you can see the writing on the wall there. I'm very excited for this match. I think I'm so accustomed to covering like 4-ways and 6-ways from Lucha Underground and all these other wrestling companies. So like when you have guys like Kevin Owens and AJ and Sammy and Cena, etc. in there, this is the type of match from a play-by-play standpoint I'm looking forward to. I know there's a lot of people in there. I do not think John Cena is winning his 17th championship in Columbus, Ohio, so don't worry, everybody. I don't think Cena is winning the title. But either way, I think AJ finds a way to retain, and it should be a fun match.
Cena's the best troll in WWE right now.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, he's not. I mean, listen, who knows? I don't want to say, obviously never say never, but I think obviously walks out as champion here. I don't want to say that's the match everybody wants to see, but that's seemingly the match that most of us want to see. You know what, man? SmackDown did surprise me the way they ended it. It was a perfect way to set up what is probably going to be, KO versus Sammy at WrestleMania, though. And I think that's something we've waited for a long time, anyway.
I saw this ad where they're making a comic book out of the Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn rivalry, Fight Forever. So it's perfect timing with this. So I think it's definitely going to happen.
So you mean they're putting storylines, the merchandise and stuff that they're putting out in the public for people to sell and like other forms of entertainment?
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
Like like a business would do.
Oh man.
That's just the one thing, and listen, for whatever it is, take this with a grain of salt. This is the one thing that just sometimes I think as fans we forget, and we kind of have to like take pause and just I don't know. Sometimes just like hold up. And I got this from Total Divas of all places, but in one episode where Naomi showed up with the title that actually was like that glowed, it had like all the that lit up. And they greenlit it, and I don't know how much how realistic it was or how much they take this on. It's reality TV. but it didn't seem like it's something that they were necessarily ready for. And the one thing I noticed whenever they were talking about it, they said, well, listen, it's not that we don't think it's a great idea, but we have to think about merchandise. And I think that's something that a lot of us forget. Like, a lot of times and again with storylines and rewriting WrestleManias and rewriting certain storylines they have merchandise and action figures, T-shirts and posters and stuff like that are already paid for, except to ship, and some are made, and event graphics and it's hard to deviate from a lot of that sometimes, or and that's why sometimes WWE can't just instantly invent, just sometimes change things overnight because they do have a certain product line coming out. But like you said, Josh, it's funny how they're tying it in. They're starting to tie everything in slowly, aren't they?
Yes, they are, my brother.
Slowly but surely, every little thing that they do is kind of tying in, including down to even fake Twitter wars between Corey Graves and Booker T.
That's awesome. I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you at the 7-Eleven. I'm gonna tattoo you.
That was great.
Oh man.
That was great. Kudos to them too.
On that note, I think that's a perfect wrap up for this podcast. We had a lot of fun conversations, kind of laid back and not really a lot to vent about. It's been fun to talk about reflecting on the Ultimate Deletion and shared some WrestleMania memories. And I think we're in for a good pay-per-view this Sunday, and WrestleMania shaping up to be a good show. But probably the next time Adam comes back on the show, we'll know everything that's going on with the pay-per-view. I'll be having coverage for Fastlane and everything going up for WrestleMania on my website, ProWrestlingTranscriptions.com, which you can bookmark right now. Also, leave a review and rating on iTunes if you can, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you like the face-to-face, Facebook.com/JWL Podcast. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Notorious Shashi. Shout out and shout out to the idol Notorious B.I.G. who passed away today at the age of 24 back in 1997. One of my favorite Biggie songs of all time that I played at the beginning of this podcast was Sky's the Limit. That's one of my favorite songs from his Life After Death album, which was actually his final one that he was recording, and he already had it ready to go before he passed away, so it was fortunate. So I want to give shout out to Christopher Wallace for the inspiration and the hustle and the stories he was able to tell on his great list of music. So shout out to Biggie. Besides that, make sure to follow the good brother, my main bro, at Twitter at AdamDaily13 and Instagram if you like at AdamDaily13. Punkster, man, thanks for coming on again.
Brother, thank you. Listen, nice shout out to Biggie. If you're not listening to Notorious Thugs, you ain't listening to good hip hop. But I want to give a shout out to Kevin Love is a basketball player that I've always kind of just I don't want to say made fun of, but it's always been a running joke that Kevin Love's name sounds like a late night talk show host. It hosts
right.
like a ladies man kind of show, like it's Kevin Love, like one of those kind of deals. But I just want to say, it takes a lot of courage to come out and talk about whether it's depression, anxiety, social anxiety, panic attacks. It was really, really cool to see him kind of finally, I don't want to say finally because nobody knew, but own it and kind of go public with it. And it was great to see the outpouring of support and love to Kevin Love. Pardon the play on words there, but you guys know I'm a big supporter of mental health and mental health awareness. And the more we talk about it, the more answers we can get, and the less we stigmatize it. So I thought that was a really, really nice thing to see this week. And Sunday, when you're enjoying WrestleMania, it's 3/11 day, baby. Be positive and enjoy your life. Love your life. We named my daughter after a song. She abbreviated it to AJ now, but it's a very special day for us. So listen to some 3/11 before the pay-per-view on Sunday. And Josh, thank you, brother. I appreciate you. We'll talk soon.
That's everybody, thank you so much for checking out episode 96 of Josh Lopez Wrestling Podcast. We'll recap it next week. 4 more episodes so we hit the 100 mark. Remember, I'm going to be sharing some of my old interviews I did with former guests of the show, like Steve Corino and the Velveteen Dream. I'm going to be posting that on my Twitter page at Twitter at Notorious Shashi. Enjoy the pay-per-view this Sunday. We'll be back next week to recap it. Remember, you have one life to live it your way with a positive mental attitude, and live life under your own circumstances, not anybody else's. With that, for Punkster, my name is Josh Lopez. We'll talk to you guys next week. Peace!